There's a lot of twists and turns with how you stepped into your calling. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, in this chapter, I share a lot of personal, like, backstories. I share a lot of origin backstories for myself. So if you're like wanting to go on to, internet and look up Richie's backstory, I gave it now.
Yeah, this is here. Yeah,
it's here. So
chapter 4, guys.
Chapter 4. And if you were to like, hey, Richie, what's your calling, man? I think my calling in life is I'm the guy at the door, with the sign on the above that says you were called for this. I'm the guy at the door as a servant trying to get you through the door. I'm like Ray, like, look, man, hey, I'm like that when you're in the mall, I'm that annoying guy that, tries to get you to try to perfume to come into the store or tell you about the new lotion product, like, hey, come here, man, let me try, smell that, man. I think that's like the comical version, but I believe that's my calling, is the guy at the door who tries to encourage, motivate, educate, do anything I can to tell you it's okay to walk through that door, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Real brief, Richie. There's another analogy or story about the shoe shine. Is that, what was it?
I don't know if that's true.
Oh,
I got to look it up, because you know how sometimes you read stuff on the internet. But
yeah.
You talking about, that's Billy Graham.
Billy Graham.
It
It
might be true, but Billy Graham, if you look at like, what he's done for sharing the gospel or sharing Jesus to the world, it's like, what's his origin? So I went and looked it up, and then hopefully it's true, because but the story I read, which would make a really good movie, is he was a teenage boy and he saw a revival tent and tried to get in. He couldn't, and it was already packed, and he's young, so it wasn't like people were just letting him in. And then there's this shoe shiner, who was there, and he was able, he actually took the initiative to grab, Billy Graham and his friend and take them into the tent. And then that revival is what rocked Billy Graham's world. And from there is the rest of the story. But just thinking about that shoe shiner who wasn't even in the revival, was just outside servicing and working. And I look at his whole backstory as a shoe shiner and everything he went through. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all connected, man. And here he was this one day, he didn't realize the kid that he was letting in. And I look at my grandkids like that, man. I don't know who I'm raising in these 13, like one of them could be the tribe of Judah, like not literally, but like the tribe of Judah. If you don't know, that was a lineage of David and everyone that went down to Jesus, man. You don't know like who you're raising and who you're calling. So me personally, my backstory got me to a day where today I look back and I say, man, I was chosen for this. Like I feel like when I'm talking to somebody one-on-one, and I feel like I see all the parenting and life that God has taken them through. I'm hearing their stories, and I'm hearing all their gifts and passions and failures and successes. It's like the story is like coming together, and I'm like, oh man, you got a calling on your life, bro. Right. Like, I know it. And so my goal and my hope is like, get you to that door.
Right. Right.
That's my calling. And where it started, man, is like, I look at and I don't know if challenge is the right word, but as I think maybe challenge, like everyone who's listening to this, just go look at your past, and there's these certain pin moments, right, in there that are just so pivotal. If they didn't happen, you would not be like certain things when happen. And so I look for those moments, and one of them I share with my mom and her backstory, and I'll let you guys read it, but my mom's backstory is really cool. And then coming to the day where she finally, she had the desires and passions to play a guitar, and then here she was singing for me, a little 3-year-old, and I heard her singing about Jesus, and I asked who Jesus is, and the way she sang Jesus, man, it wasn't like a religion or like some words off a book that she was just like reading and learning. She sang like she knew him more, like she had a closer relationship with this Jesus than my dad. So I was just like, who is she singing about? I want to know this guy, Jesus, because the way she sang, I loved how her emotions and how she you know, how I could just see her feelings when she sang. Like there was just like this love, and I was like, oh man, I want to know that Jesus, you know, like. And so as a little toddler, I'm like, hey, you know, I didn't say it like this, like yo, you know, who's this Jesus dude? No, I was probably like, you know, who's Jesus? Like I want to know who he is. Like, and so she shared with me and like saying that I can accept him in my heart and all this, and so like little kid, I just rolled over to the side, put my head against the wall like I'm going to sleep, and I said, Jesus, will you come into my heart?
Oh, really?
No, seriously, true story. Yeah. So I was just like, you know, I really wanted Jesus to be I wanted him in my heart. So I didn't think of heart like my beating heart, but I knew like it meant in like part of me somehow.
Sure.
Like I understood that. A little 3-year-old, man, which is crazy. And then like 2 or 3 months later, house fire, I died and got, you know, brought back to life, and I got to witness Jesus for real, you know, and experience him. So that pivotal moment, man, just makes me think like, what if she didn't introduce me to Jesus? Like, would the fire been the same? You know, like I don't know, you know? And so that was a real pivotal moment. I think I share a lot of my football emotions and stories, and kind of that was really a scary moment for me. And just as a freshman in high school, you know, I didn't like football. I was more into basketball and other sports, baseball. But my mom, who is still, you know, kind of the parenting person of my life at the time too, was telling me I should try out for football. And, you know, I really didn't want to. And I ended up trying out 6'2", played defense. And then God just took over, man. I guess, oops, I keep hitting the mic. God just took over, man, because I just I don't know, man, it was fruitful, like everything. And I let people read the story of my football journey, but it was very fruitful, man. And I became, you know, by sophomore year, I was a varsity quarterback, or invited to be the varsity quarterback. But the emotions of a sophomore, like some people would be like super excited for that opportunity. Whoa, I could be the varsity quarterback. I'm only 16, you know, I'm sophomore and be the hip man at the school, you know. But me, I was a total opposite. Like, you freaking kidding me? Like, on a football field, I don't know the sport, and I'm gonna be a quarterback. People are gonna try to hit me. You know what I mean? It was very barbaric to me. I'm more like swag and basketball and kind of like shake you and, you know, do a layup kind of guy, shoot a three. But like to hit people and rah and all that wasn't
your
jams.
Man.
No, so it was just frightening, man. And you know, I could have said no, but you know, I wanted to quit football. Honestly, I remember sitting in my bedroom like, man, I want to quit this, man. Like, and just the fear, man. I understand that fear, and I didn't know it was like a beginning to my calling. And my calling's not like football and NFL. I'm gonna get to that, but that calling of being a leader, of taking people from one part of the field to the next and crossing a line, actually getting a team to cross the line, to get through the door. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, sure.
That was my calling, and I didn't realize, like, as a quarterback, I'm taking a team, and I'm learning now. Here I go. I accept the role, and the story's there, and I like Eminem in 8 Mile. I'm throwing up in the bathroom before the first game, and I'm just like, man, I can't do this. And then, you know, just having teammates there to encourage, and that's what happened. That was a shift for me in that moment playing football, man. Was like, okay, this isn't about me. This is about me supporting my team. Yeah. And that's where it shifted for me. Like, I can do that because I've been parented all along to be that kind of guy. Yeah. So that was the moment I realized, okay, this isn't about, who cares if, like, I don't want to fail them. That's my motivation, but I don't, like, it's not about me anymore. I got to be there for them. So that was easy for me. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, maybe this fits. This glove fits. Yeah. So when I stepped out on the field, man, I ended up breaking some quarterback rating record for a sophomore and quarterback, you know, at almost 300 yards, had 3 touchdowns, and played the number 1 team in the state and lost by 2, almost beat them. It was in the rain, so I think we had a little bit of advantage. It was God advantage. You got it. But God was positioning me to, you know, be a quarterback in life, and in my calling to help people get across that line, get through that door in their calling in life. And so, yeah, I share personal stories, man, of my origin of even going through the company. I remember, or even military too. I think there was another pivotal point. If we're going to do points, there was a point where at A school, I got I was third in my class,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's not normal. I'm usually like, there's 26 people. I'm like 24, and in 24 is like the guy who just got the D,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, like, or C. I'm like
yeah,
C
yeah.
level. I'm not D, but yeah, you know, I always got by. And so the fact that I was third in my class was just like mind blowing to me. It was whatever, office administration school. But when you get ranked on how you do in your class, at least in that school or at that time, I don't know how it is now, but you get to pick the orders of where you're going to be stationed in the military, because this is my first time picking a station. So being third, the guy presented to the whole class. He's like, yeah, we got like 20 options in San Diego. We got another 20 orders over here in Newport, Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And so it's either Virginia or Cali. But he says, oh, we got one in Japan and we got one in Hawaii. And I was like, okay, I'm from Peoria, Illinois. I'm trying to get out. You know,
Yeah.
like that was a desire that was placed in me. I'm
Yeah.
trying to go to Japan or Hawaii, man.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, or I'll settle for San Diego. My dad's
Yeah.
from San Diego. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm third. So I'm like, okay, I'm already settling on San Diego, right? And so the first order the guy did, he picked Japan. He's like, yeah, Japan, I'm taking that. Everyone's like, yeah, Japan, you know, like, it's cool. And this A school was in Mississippi, so you can even imagine, man, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, and so here we go. The second guy, he was like, all right, he's going to get Hawaii. Who wouldn't pick, like, from the mainland, you know, version of Hawaii? Like,
Right.
man, this is like, get out of here, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, and he was sitting there. And he was sitting there. I'm like, everyone's like, what up? Like, what
Where
you,
you
like,
gonna go?
like, what do you go pick, man? And then he looks at me because he knows I'm number 3. He's like, man, you owe me a 6-pack, man. He's like, Virginia. and I was like, he was like, yeah, my family's from Virginia, so I gotta go there, man. And then I jumped like I won the lottery, man. Like, I'm like, y'all don't even know where I
Let's
come
go.
from, man. From Peoria, Illinois. I'm about to go to Hawaii, man.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
kick it. You know, so I was just like so excited, man. I just felt like I just won the biggest lottery in my life, because all my life of parenting, the desire and passion was get out. And I felt like I received that gift to get out, and I'm out now. And so now why I share that is my whole life, the next 25 years, here I am today. I cannot imagine it anywhere else on the planet. I can't imagine that when my baby was born, you know, here on the islands, if I didn't like have that pivotal moment, I wouldn't have that baby, my baby, to look in her eyes and say, so nothing could change.
Yeah.
No house fire, no any other me messing up in college, no anything. That pivotal moment when I could have gone to San Diego because my dad's from there and family, or pick you know, Hawaii. And so yeah, man, it's those pivotal moments, you know, I feel like if you look back, you could see God shifting and taking you through this journey.
For sure. I think one of the things I underlined here was that, you know, God works in the background. God works in ways you can't see. And these little pivotal moments, you know, with football, you mentioned that in that era of your life, that pivotal moments, you learned the skill of leading with your heart. And that's something you can't just learn out of nowhere, especially in those situations, how it panned out. It's a portion they people definitely got to read to get a more what do you call a bigger picture of it. But it's where you learn to lead with your heart, right? Mm-hmm. And then that other pivotal moment of that guy, you know, being from Virginia and choosing to go home. That's just not random. I mean, that's God working in the background, and it's crazy. And you had a small joke with your mom. It's like you were chosen because what's that thing?
Yeah, So the name of the ship that I got assigned to in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, was the USS Chosin.
Yeah,
it's Korean war name with a CHOSIN. But the fact that it was like I was chosen to come out to the islands, and so the irony of that analogy is like you were called for this, but then I go on to this chosen ship to say, I was chosen to be here for whatever reason it is, you know.
Yeah.
And that's I encourage everyone to look at their personal life like that. Like you were chosen for something, and look at where God's calling. There's going to be a day you look back and say, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. If you're not there, it's coming. I do believe that, man. And so.
Yeah. And the one of the last things I want to say, Richie, is that on the last portion or last page of that chapter, it says to pay attention to these small things, because what could be, ordinary actions to you could be a foundation for the future, the foundation for what you're actually called to be. But you want to close it up, bro?
Yeah, it's positioning, man, for our purpose. I think when I say pay attention, it means like, don't disregard all the storms in life, because I believe God allows a lot of storms, and some of them are really hard. But he's setting us up and positioning us for a certain moment that will just change course, on everything. And so if you're not there yet, just be patient and pay attention, because it's coming, and continually look back on the history of what God has, been doing all along. Even when it looks hard and it looks horrible, how come I got kicked out of my house and wasn't able to pay rent? That's not resourceful. That's not the builder of all things. Guess what? You're going to look back one day and say, I see what he was doing.
Yeah.
But you're not there yet, and so
Right.
if you're still in that place of, maybe blame or shame or whatever it is, I've been there too. And you'll get over that hump, when everything pans out, and, just keep doing, keep moving. Don't stay stagnant.